Welcome to Soulfull Wellness. We're Kit and Kaelynn, certified wellness coaches who know firsthand what it's like to feel perpetually unwell in body, mind, and relationships. Through coaching, we experienced life-changing holistic health upgrades.
Our wellness evolutions inspired us to become certified as coaches, so we created this podcast to build community, bring you practical guidance, and share our personal experiences, even the really embarrassing ones, so you too can heal inside and out. Join us every Thursday as we embrace living from the soul. No trends, diets, or one-size-fits-all advice here.
Welcome, listeners. We're so happy to have you. Before we jump into today's content, we have an ask. Could you please be so kind as to review and rate this podcast wherever you're listening? That would mean the world to us. I don't know if you can hear the smile in my voice, but yesterday, Kaelynn and I were sitting together just doing some soulful work, and it's the first time we've ever discovered a new review while we're sitting there face to face, which just made it all the more special.
It was incredible, like stumbling upon this review, not only to see that you left a review, thank you so much, but the actual review itself, like my soul started to sparkle. Like I felt tingles all through my body. Like this review truly means so much to us, and we're going to go ahead and read it to everyone. So the title of the review is called Soul Found. Okay, full body chills. Wow. I love this podcast. It's a part of my daily life and has helped me tap into the soul of who I am more and more every day and who I'm growing to become for the future. Thank you, ladies, for all you do. Thank you. Okay?
The soul of who I am and who I'm growing to become. That's exactly how I feel. This resonated so deeply.
It just speaks to what coaching does. It's like, it just feels so good to know that this podcast is resonating with you in the way we intended it to, for you to really learn more about yourself and have more tools in your arsenal to help you holistically, mind, body, spirit, soul, baby, living from the soul, like not a one-size-fits-all prescription, but to take the information and the conversations that we have and to really apply it to your life. But the fact that it resonates so deeply on a soul level, I couldn't say more. I'm just so honored and so happy to have you as a part of the Soulfull Society. And if you feel so inspired, listener, please feel free to leave us a review. As you can see, it really makes our whole world. And we love
Makes us so happy.
Yeah, it's just an honor to get your feedback. So thank you. Back to our regularly scheduled programming, we're going to get into today's topic where we're going to have some conversation and then give you 5 real ways that you can begin to practice self-love for better mental health and more self-confidence. Who doesn't want that? So what is self-love? The phrase has been receiving a lot of buzz on self-help and wellness social media posts, blog articles, you name it. But what does it really mean, and how can it affect your mental health?
Self-love generally refers to appreciating yourself and treating yourself with kindness and respect, both in thoughts and in actions. Over time, practicing actions that promote self-love can help you so much in so many arenas. It can help you physically and your psychological well-being, of course. Practicing self-love is likely to boost your confidence, your self-esteem, your belief in yourself and your abilities, make you more tuned into your strengths, and allow you to be more accepting instead of judgmental of your weaknesses or perceived failures.
Yeah, I feel like we talk a lot about the inner gremlin, which is that inner critic. Any sort of mean dialogue you hear, any sort of critique or judgments you hear about yourself in your mind is that inner gremlin. And it's trying to protect your ego. We all have it, unfortunately. It's a part of being human. None of us are exempt from it, but just know that you're not alone and that ours creeps up all the time. I think it's never about being perfect. It's about recognizing the voice and learning how to shut it down and learning how to fuel and feed your soul so you can continually love yourself and recognize that that's actually not you.
There are helpful criticisms and there are blatantly unhelpful, even mean criticisms. I catch myself doing the latter. So by practicing self-love and fostering being nice to myself, to just put it in really colloquial terms, self-love is about being kind to yourself, being your own cheerleader instead of just your most brutal, harshest critic.
I think for me lately, as far as like real life experiences go, lately I've been really opening up to close friends just about not only my negative thought patterns, but just really what's bothering me right now in terms of grief and difficult emotions. But I find myself as I'm opening up, like getting this feedback that's so helpful. And a lot of it is you're too hard on yourself. And sometimes we can't see that until we have a friend tell us it, like right to the face. I feel like we do that with each other a lot, Kit, where we just call each other on it. And that can be a helpful bonus tool.
Because when feedback from anyone, not just myself, when feedback comes to me, I have this sort of intrinsic, unwritten value structure where I place it, depending on my relationship with the person providing the feedback, degree of respect I have for that person and his or her opinions, so forth and so on. So when the person giving me the feedback is me, it's high on the value. I find it obviously very reliable, very trustworthy, very valid. I rarely question how real is this feedback I'm getting when it's coming from air quotes inside the house. I take it at face value. And sometimes it's really helpful to have somebody remind me to check that. I want to say somebody check it for me, but it's really about me checking it. And I don't think to do that until somebody says something like, I don't think that's really a thing, or I don't think that's as big as you're thinking it is right now. And only then do I pause and go, oh, I hear what you're saying. I need to back up and say, wait, should I even be accepting this? And the answer is not always yes. Sometimes the answer is like, wow, why am I doing this to myself? That's just mean.
Mean. It's like the Taylor Swift song, Mean. Why you gotta be so mean? I feel like we've been conditioned to think that self-love isn't necessary. Like it's not on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? It's not something that's top of mind. And a lot of us are taught to push through and just work harder and focus on other things. And even in the wellness space, it's like nutrition, sleep, movement. Well, what about self-love? Like, come on.
Yes, that it's a given, that you don't need to focus on it or prioritize it because, of course, we love ourselves. Why wouldn't we love ourselves? And that's not always the case.
I think something that can really be helpful, this is another bonus tool before we get into the 5 ways that you can cultivate more self-love, is inner child work and inner teen work. I actually haven't done a lot of that, but my inner team has been coming up a lot lately. And I'm like, whoa, hello, greetings. Have not seen you or talked to you in a while. Forgot about you. It's easier, I feel like, to focus on the inner child because she's so cute and she's so innocent and she's so little.
Vulnerable, and you want to protect and coddle and draw this child into what you know she has the potential to be.
And the inner teen is like, raging with hormones and probably has just been through embarrassing, frustrating, difficult challenges that she wasn't equipped with the right tools to handle. And so I think that those 2 different visualizations are really, really helpful when it comes to cultivating self-love, which is basically just giving yourself grace and appreciation and support physically, psychologically, spiritually, having a positive sense, like a high regard for yourself in a not boastful way, but just putting your well-being first, taking care of your needs and not sacrificing your well-being.
today. We have 5 ways you can promote this for yourself. And I love these. These get me excited.
Yay, let's jump in.
Okay. Number 1, we're going to start with it because once again, it sounds so obvious, but ask yourself, am I really doing this? Am I doing it regularly? And am I prioritizing it? Practice self-care.
Self-care, we've talked about in a few past episodes. Go check them out. If you're interested, you can just type in the podcast search bar, Soulfull Wellness Self-Care, and it should pop up. It is not a one-size-fits-all definition. Self-care is totally customizable for you. And it's just about experimenting and figuring out what truly brings you inner peace and health. So taking care of your basic needs is a form of self-care. It's essential to being mentally healthy. So while we don't need to tell you that exercising, maintaining proper nutrition, and getting enough sleep are going to help you maintain good health, it's important that you recognize the small daily practices you're doing, like brushing your teeth, taking a shower, wearing clean clothes each day. Like, it might seem simple, but it's truly an opportunity to celebrate these small wins because they can sometimes be really tough to do, especially if you're in a season where you're struggling mentally.
As much as possible, sprinkle self-care throughout your day, throughout your week. One important thing is to actually carve out on your schedule time for this, and I do think that's valuable. The subliminal message I think I was sending myself was, you get 45 minutes every day or 1 hour on weekends or whatever it was that I followed my own advice and scheduled on my calendar. Almost as if that's your designated take care of yourself time. Now, the other 23 hours in the day, you're of service. You're XYZ, whatever hat I have on in that moment. And lately, I've been making a more concerted effort to sprinkle smaller self-care practices, even if it's noticing what's going on inside me, noticing the anxieties ramping up, and deciding that I am going to take 10 minutes to play solitaire on my phone because, yes, I count that as self-care. It is soothing to me. It is relaxing to me. It works.
But that's the point, right? Like, whatever works for you, then that's your self-care. Love it. Love it so much. Practicing self-care daily, no matter how small it is a healthy habit, and it's a great way to practice self-love. It's signaling to you, I'm worthy.
Yes, it is serious virtue signaling. I believe I'm worthy of this time.
Which brings us to number 2. Focus on your needs, not your wants. Now, what does that mean? What does that look like? It just means balance, right? Like, we're not going out and partying every single day. We're also not restricting ourselves from fun events or yummy candy or things like that. I feel like it's really just finding that balance, but having that signal to yourself, this is what I want, but not what I need right now. Like, what do I really need? Do I really want to go to that party? Maybe. But if the 3 crying sessions I've had today have signaled anything to me, it's probably what I need is to lie under my weighted blanket, stay in tonight, take a bath, watch some TV.
I love how you said it's about balance. That is the perfect way to think about it. It really is about moderation and balance, and much like wellness itself, fitting all the pieces in.
I think for me, it's like overscheduling myself with social events in the summer. Like, I want to do it. I'm feeling particularly extroverted. The sun is out. The weather's hot. But sometimes I overdo it and I get to a point where my body's like, can you please slow down? And the liver's like, all right, we're working overtime here. Chill out.
Absolutely. A big sign is when the fun things don't feel fun anymore. Like, I'll put things on my calendar that when I put them on, I'm like, oh, this is going to be amazing. I can't wait for that. And I put so many that I get to the thing and all I'm thinking is like, oh, I don't want to. I just want to sit on the sofa, watch something on Netflix, and pet my pups. If the fun thing isn't fun, that's no longer self-care. That's no longer something I'm doing for me.
That is a perfect segue into number 3, set healthy boundaries. Allow yourself to say no to things that wear you down or that are going to be a detriment to your mental well-being.
even if you think you should or you feel like you ought to.
That's actually a telltale sign not to do it.
Right.
If you are shoulding yourself, like, oh, I should do this, I should do that.
I'm going like, I really don't want to, but I should do this. Dig into it. Why should you? Why are you telling yourself this? Should you even? That's where you got to call yourself out and question yourself. Why are you even saying you should? Who are you helping here?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you doing this favor to? Is the person so happy you're going to come to their party? Nobody's crossing their fingers going, I really hope of all the people I invited, Kit comes.
I'm hoping that.
Oh, thank you.
I'm kidding. Like, I know you so well. If you were to say no, I'd be like, oh yeah, she just needs to rest.
Yeah.
Boundary setting is such an elusive term. We also have some episodes on that, but it really is about saying yes when it feels in your body like a hell yes, and saying no when it simply doesn't, or when it feels obligatory or there's guilt or shame around it.
Practice saying no. Period. Still hard for me. Still practice it frequently. Sometimes I practice it in my car. Seems like a good place. I just say no. No thanks. Nope.
And this applies to the people in your life. So setting boundaries with toxic people, people who are extremely negative, who are bringing your vibe down, who don't want the best for you, who are competitive with you, setting that boundary and saying yes to yourself. Mm-hmm. That is self-love.
Number 4, forgive others. Not easy. Can take time. Sometimes you even need to fake feeling forgiveness, verbally give the forgiveness to help you actually feel the forgiveness. I'm trying to give forgiveness even before I feel it inside, trusting and knowing the real feeling will come.
I like that. That's like manifestation and visualization right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
Faking it to become it, like cultivating forgiveness. I like that strategy a lot. It starts with basically pretending it at first until it eventually becomes genuine forgiveness.
Mm-hmm. Which, in my experience, does always eventually come.
Oh, good. Okay, I really like that. I'm stealing that one.
You can let go of trauma or hurt from your past, and a lot of this can be just from within. You don't need to call anyone and let them know. Mm-hmm. It's all inside me. When I know, I feel that I've processed something that felt like being wronged, and I've really just released it, and I'm no longer impacted by it.
Oh, that's beautiful. I mean, not forgiving is really a coping mechanism. I've had a challenge with that for sure. When feeling really wronged in my past, trying to stick up for myself, I almost in the past felt like not forgiving was protecting me and was upholding my strength for whatever reason.
Of course. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me is a saying for a reason. Mm-hmm. Practicing forgiveness can facilitate healing and ultimately allow you to develop a sense of true self-love.
Love it. Number 5. This is my favorite one. Forgive yourself.
Best for last.
Oh, I know. Just like practicing self-care, forgiving ourselves can take a back seat when we feel low or stressed. We might forget that we need to forgive ourselves just as much as we need to forgive others. No one is perfect. Neither are you. So when you make mistakes, you're growing, you're learning. It's just a part of being human. It's definitely difficult, but it's not impossible. And it's such a beautiful gift. I feel like the self-compassion meditation that we learned at Georgetown is definitely my favorite and stuck with me the most. And I feel like self-compassion is a gateway into self-forgiveness and like learning really how to do that and move on.
Yes, it is. If you can give yourself that space, that leeway, maybe it wasn't the best choice, but I'm okay. The other person's okay. We're all going to be fine. And then seeing within yourself that we're all on these journeys to better versions of ourselves. And you only learn by trying. And everything we try isn't going to be the exactly right best thing.
Yeah. Forgiving yourself is a form of self-love. Like, it makes a lot of sense because it's giving yourself that grace and that compassion that you probably give other people in your life. Like, why can't you have that too? It opens such a beautiful door for transformation and forgiveness with yourself because you're acknowledging the fact that like humans evolve and we don't want to be who we used to be, but we had to make those mistakes in order to get here in the first place. So it's inevitable, right? We're going to mess up. We're going to make mistakes. But if we keep berating ourselves about it, it's really going to tank our mental health. It really is.
There's certain things that I still struggle with forgiving myself for. Here's where I'll enter the confessional and say I had a little phase in middle school in 8th grade where I was not nice. And there was one girl in particular that I was not nice to. And I feel such deep shame about my behavior and the things that I joined in on. I still, decades later, have trouble forgiving myself for. I'm still working toward taking that experience and the message from it of precisely who I don't want to be. I think if you can really just sit with how uncomfortable it feels to feel that shame and that embarrassment and just let it go. I guess I'm trying to say I get how hard it is, but it's really important.
I think we all can really appreciate you sharing that because the forgiveness is permeating. It really makes you think about the person that has harmed you. Could be still thinking about that and still working on that and praying for forgiveness and really reflecting on it, which I just feel like it's like a circle of forgiveness. It invites more. Like you recognizing that and still thinking about 8th grade in your 50s.
Mm-hmm. One of my great fears is that she has not healed from it, that she still thinks about how I and others treated her, what we said and what we did. I hope that she has healed from it, forgiven us on her own, and completely moved on from that experience.
I think all we can do at this point is send those people that we've wronged love and light and truly sit with our feelings and send them really good energy, and then continue to work on ourselves, to go to coaching, to go to counseling. If it's still bothering you, bringing that up to your coach or to your therapist and moving on, because it just allows for more self-freedom and self-love.
Yes.
So today we talked a lot about self-love, mental health, and as with all habits, practice makes perfect, or imperfect, we like to say, and self-love is something worth practicing for good mental health. If you need help developing these 5 self-love habits, speaking with a coach could be helpful. If you're struggling with your mental health, we are here for you. We're here to help. Please email us at sfowpodcast@gmail.com to book a complimentary consultation. We'd love to hear from you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
We so appreciate your reviews and sharing this podcast with your friends. Till next week, peace, love, and light.
Have a fantastic week. Peace, love, and light.
The Soulfull of Wellness hosts are certified health and wellness coaches. This podcast is intended to inform and entertain listeners on their wellness journey. This podcast is meant to enhance, not replace, listeners' care from doctors, therapists, or other medical providers. Soulfull.